Hello and welcome to this amazing Google Hangout. I'm sure you guys are as excited as I am to be here with these three amazing facilitators and get the lowdown on what is Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider. So it is my absolute honor to introduce you to Susie Godsey. Hi. Viv Adcock.
Hi, g'day.
And Hanne Stigaard. Is that how you say that?
Stigaard? Yes.
Sorry, my girl. Awesome. So, ladies, who would like to be the first to jump into what is Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider?
That's a brilliant question, isn't it? It's basically a clinic where you are going to be facilitated around horses, and where we're also facilitating horses. That's really the bottom line. What are we facilitating? Well, it could be anything from your fear of horses, if you're somebody who's afraid of horses. It could be your fear of riding or of riding properly. It could be enhancing your riding skills. It could assist your horse in letting go of any limitations that he or she might have, and also helping them in the physical and emotionally quite a bit as well, because oftentimes horses also can have emotional blockages that just don't allow them to be who they truly could be. So that is, well, it in a nutshell from my point of view, but I'm sure Viv and Hanne have something to add to that, so I'll let them talk too.
Just before you go there, Susie, in the horse clinic world, the word facilitation doesn't mean a whole bunch. So if I'm new to Access, what are you talking about?
What am I talking about? Yeah, so the idea is really that we're not trying to fix you, and that we're not trying to look for what's wrong with you or what's wrong with your horse in order to fix it, but we're actually looking at a possibility to open the door to more space and to an awareness that can really change whatever is going on, but it really comes then from within. So it comes from the horse, it comes from the person. And so we use the word facilitation because we're not really teaching you a how-to in a sense of, yes, there is some how-tos too as well, but it's not like do this and then you create this result. It's more like making you aware that with your own with your own knowledge, with your own way of being, you can actually change things at ease. But you're being facilitated into that. You're not told how to do that, or you're not told what needs to change for you to be a better person, or we're not telling the horse what needs to happen for the horse to be a better horse. So that's really what that word means to me.
Well, that's really different than most horse clinics I've been to, where you and the horse are actually included and not dictated to. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And that also makes it, yeah.
You go, Hannah.
Yeah, that also makes it very individual what people come for and what they get out of a clinic like that, because every person is different and every person is facilitated into finding out who they truly are and where they can grow and what they can do in another way. Or also with the horses, they're also very individual, so every one of them will be facilitated in different ways. So it's very individual what people come for. And like you said, Susie, it's like some people come because they are afraid of horses, that have never actually been with a horse or been close to a horse because they are scared of that. And some people come because they professionally work with horses and they have some limitations that they would like to go beyond. Or some people come because they really wish for the communion with a horse, the avatar communion that most horse people dream of, this connection, the communion with a horse where you can be one and actually sense. You can sense whatever how the horse is, and the horse can sense you, and you can ride it from your thoughts and from your being. So it's very individual what people come for and what they get out of the class.
Thank you. Viv, you had something you wanted to do.
Yeah, and it's just echoing on what Hannah was just saying too. That level of awareness that's actually generated by being around horses, there's something unique about horses as an animal that inspires and opens up and expands and introduces people to something beyond anything I've seen another animal do. I don't know if that's actually correct, but that's my awareness. And through going to the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider clinics, people find they can trust themselves. We all have our own unique way to communicate and to connect and to ride and to handle and to be around. And for me, what it did was it created the space for me to actually start to trust me and stop just reading the books and thinking that I was doing it wrong because somebody else was telling me to do it one way or the other. It gave me the space to actually kind of explore and experiment and allow the horses to show me rather than me think I've got to get it right or it has to be a certain way. So it took out a lot of the rigidity in the form and structure of how we're traditionally shown or taught how to be with horses. So, and if you allow that space for the horse, they will just take you to a whole different reality. They'll show you a whole different way. So for me, that was the riding part, to be able to ride, you know, with that sense of communion was one thing, but to have it on the ground, and whether they're over the fence and, you know, you're driving past in a car or whether you're actually having your hands on, and to share that with other people is just such a thrill.
Yep. Yeah, the horses are definitely able to show us something if we are willing to listen to it, and that's something that we do a lot of too in the clinic, is the communication of between the horse and the person. And once you start to get that, the horse can actually tell you a lot about you. It can. Well, I usually say that you can spend 100 hours with a psychologist or a therapist to find out what a horse can show you in 1 hour, because the mirror that the horse puts in your face is completely without conclusions and judgments. It's just a completely clean mirror, and it just shows you. And it shows where you are pretending to be something that you're not. There's the blueprint of you, and then there's whatever you are trying to be or pretending to be. And what we work with a lot in the clinics is actually to get those two images to match, because if you show up like that, your blueprint of who you truly be and what you are trying to be, then the horse just walks off, because they don't want to, they see this and they see what you really truly can be, and they see that facade and they go like, oh, that doesn't work for me. If you are like here, then they really want to interact with you. And if we are listening to them, they are capable of telling us where we do this, where we are not being ourselves, and they can show us how to get there. So it's truly amazing what they can actually, what if everything you have to know about life and living you can learn from a horse? In my reality, you can.
And that's often what Gary Douglas says, right? Yeah. He says everything I ever learned in life I learned from a horse. I learned
from a horse, yeah.
So that's the fun part too about this clinic, and I think a lot of people might get thrown off by the name of the clinic because it is called Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider. Maybe a lot of people think you have to be on the horse, you have to be the rider to be coming to this clinic, but honestly. What Hanne was just saying, there's so many people that show up that really just are not even sure why they're there. They just knew they had to come, but they don't have a horse at home. They don't want to go riding. Even it's not in their reality, and yet they walk away with so much more of an awareness of how they are showing up in the world and how they present themselves in the world. And it changes so much for them that really it changes their relationship to their spouse, it changes their relationship to their children, it changes the way they really show up. And so it can have such a huge impact on you, even if you really have nothing to do with horses on a daily basis. So that can really be a big invitation for anybody who feels drawn to check this out.
I have a cool example. I have a cool example of that, actually. At my last clinic, there was a doctor and his wife who were an accountant, and they had no horses, and they were not horse people. They heard about the clinic the day before we started, and they just knew that they had to go, and they just came there, and they were a little bit like they've never heard anything about access or this horse clinic or anything before, so they were looking a little bit like skeptical the first day, and then the second day in the morning they showed up like this, and they just like, oh, give me more. They went home the first day, and they had three big dogs, three Great Danes, and they went home and tried these tools with their dogs, and they came home in the morning, came back in the morning and said, oh, we were playing with this with the dogs the whole evening, and it just works. All this works, also with dogs. And the doctor said, I'm so going to implement this in my work, because I really realized that I can actually see people in another way. I can read people in another way. I have a sense of who is sitting across the table from me. And he said, and I realized actually that I have created my life, even the beatings I took as a child. I have been bitter and angry about this for my whole life, and now I realize that I created that. So I'm in peace with that now. So even if you're not a horse person, you can get a lot out of the tools and the techniques.
Well, thank you so much for that, Hanne. I have to tell you, ladies, that to hear you speak of this clinic is, for lack of a better way of putting it, it sounds like the fantasy that, yeah, most people are looking for with their horses. So, what is? It sounds like there's some kind of big secret here, or some kind of. So, what is it that happens at this clinic? Are you guys dancing around with, like, you know, magic wands, or what makes this different?
Well, the clinic is really based on the tools of access consciousness, and the tools of access consciousness are really based on a question. So we ask a lot of questions, and when you ask the universe a question, an energy comes up. So any question brings up an energy, brings up an awareness, and when that comes up, there is sometimes a limitation that can be in the way of receiving that in totality or moving forward with that in totality. So, for example, if you have a horse that just never wants to, like, jump over the fence, and it always just stops right in front of the fence and it will not go over the fence. You know, you can look at this in so many ways. There can be some physical things that might be going on. There can be some things going on with the rider. There can be things going on that maybe happened in training. There can be things going on that you have no idea about because it happened at a time that the horse doesn't even recall. Because horses also can have an energetic blockage that really can stop them. So we ask a question, what is this? Really so simple. We might just be standing there in front of the horse and say, what is this? What are we dealing with here? What is this? And then an energy comes up. Now we don't even have to know exactly what that energy is, and we can just say, hey, everything that is, will you please destroy and uncreate it all? And we're asking the horse now to let go of whatever is holding it back in this particular moment energetically. And then we run the clearing statement, which is a really profound tool in access consciousness. And it goes like this: right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Now, what do these words do? They literally ask the energy to go back to wherever the limitation was created and undo it. It's almost like pulling the bottom card out of a house of cards, and the whole house just falls down. So with that, you're now allowing the horse to actually go, oh, wait a minute, maybe it wasn't all this bad to go towards the fence. Now, depending on how strong whatever this thing is, you may have to run this a few more times. But so yes, we are running around with a magic wand called the clearing statement. It's not a physical thing we hold in our hands, but it is the tool that we use verbally to actually just really make these shifts and changes. And it is amazing. I mean, nothing short of miracles, really, what can occur with this in a very short period of time. I've seen animals shift and change out of behaviors that they had ingrained for years. and literally just let them go in an hour's time. Just unbelievable stuff in a way. And you might think, my God, this sounds too good to be true. It is too good to be true. I don't know. But anyway, it is true.
It's true. It's definitely true. I've seen really, really magical changes in no time. And that's part of what I really find so interesting and really, really rewarding with these clinics, is that the horses shows us what is really possible if we are not thinking and what do you call it, avoiding change like we do. We often think like, oh, that's too good to be true, or this is not, and change, I've been 20 years of creating this problem, so it takes 20 years to get out of it again, or things like that. We have so many conclusions about how difficult and painful change is, and horses can actually show us. They are present and they have no judgments or conclusions, and if there is some behavior or some physical challenge that is no longer working for them, and we ask them if they want to change it, they just change it, and it's just done. And they don't do what we also do, like going back to the ship. They don't do that either. They also like, oh, I've changed that, and that's it. And what we can spend like an hour to receive a body process, they will maybe receive it in 2 minutes. And it's just, they actually show us what is possible in many ways, in changes and in ways of dealing with whatever we created in our lives that is no longer working for us. They show us what is possible with change and how rapidly it can go.
Truly taking advantage of the horse's natural instinct to find the path of least resistance, using these tools to clear that path, and teaching us that we can choose it too.
Yeah.
Something we haven't talked about also is the contribution that horses wish to be for us. You know, this is going beyond the riding and the education that we get, the contribution they wish to be energetically to our bodies and how they can actually facilitate our bodies to function differently. In the class, we also learned some hands-on body processes as well. So for anybody that might not be interested in the riding, but they're more interested in learning some hands-on healing techniques, then there are lots of processes within the class as well that facilitate change with animals that may have had problems for a long, long time. You know, Susie, do you want to talk about the bowed tendon that you worked with?
Sure. Yeah, so we were at a racehorse stables, and there was a horse there with a bowed tendon, but really what we found out too was that the horse didn't really like to be on the racetrack anymore. She wanted to do dressage. So we actually looked at that and we talked to the person who owned her, and so that was actually also something very nice, because the person was willing to actually shift and change that and look at what else would be possible for this horse. But then the thing that actually occurred was with the body processes and everything that we were doing there with the horse and this technique that's called SE as well, it actually shifted the horse so much that the bowed tendon was gone within a week. And that is usually something that is not supposed to happen. But all energetically worked together and really gave that possibility. So that was really an amazing yeah, it was just amazing. So
the thing I've seen too in clinics is, for people, there's so many people out there that would love to work with horses, that would love to, or work with animals, but they don't have the traditional qualifications. You know, they're not a vet or whatever. And I find this is such an invitation for people that know they've got this ability, or maybe they don't even know it yet, but they have this yearning, they have this desire to work with animals in a way that maybe doesn't fit into the traditional form and structure of what we see in this reality. So these tools and techniques are incredibly powerful, and like Hanne said, the animals have no resistance to receiving. They don't want to hold on to pain. They don't want to be in discomfort. They want to have an ease-filled body. And they do let go of stuff so incredibly quickly that even that changes people's points of view, to see that that is actually possible in front of their eyes in a physical animal, you know, within minutes. It's incredible.
That's so true. And you know what, Viv, interesting enough, you were just talking about people that, you know, may not really want to go into the conventional things, but I've actually also seen trainers, horse trainers that came to the classes as well, and they were able to really just then implement these tools to actually have their training techniques go with more ease, because it's not about no more training, but it's really more about what we've been talking about earlier, like creating the connection with the horse and the person. And these tools can really help making that so much faster. So even if you're a trainer, you might be interested in these tools.
Yeah, I also have both trainers and breeders and professional riders, and the breeders as well. I've had breeders having problems with getting their mares in foal, and these techniques work for that too, because whenever that happens, there is a reason to it. There is something going on, and we have techniques to deal with that too, physically, and also like with a clearing statement. If something is blocking from that to happen, you might find out that that's never going to happen, or you might help that actually happen. So it's in many different ways, and also with training, like you said, there's a trainer in Ireland that we work with a lot, like 3 times a year, and his horses are getting a better speed and more flexibility, and also getting rid of some of their resistance to the start thing that they go into, and it's really, there's a lot of possibilities.
Wow, you mean like people could maybe have even better racehorses if they use these tools?
Yes, oh my God. How does it get any better than that?
I may even put my money on those guys.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. We actually had one horse, a racehorse. She was a gallop horse, and she was a thoroughbred in Ireland, and she was going to be put down because she was sold in May, and she injured her leg in their stable just 3 days before she was shipped off. And the hind leg was just, we saw her like 3 months later in a clinic there, and the hind leg was still with an open wound on the whole front side of the hind leg, like this open, and it was really mushy and not nice. And she had started cripping as well, and she was eating dirt and eating sand, and she was really behaving more and more weird. And he decided that she was going to be put down, and it was a horse like 70,000 euros. So pretty valuable horse. And we worked with her one day. We worked physically on the leg, and we did a lot of clearing statement on her behavior with the cripping, the eating dirt, and all of that. And the second day when we came, he just lost his, he did not want to be part of the clinic in the beginning, but he's been part of the clinics ever since, because when he saw that leg, the surface of their wound was healed, and the leg, the swellings of the leg had gone smaller the next day, and she had completely stopped eating dirt and sand. And the day after the clinic, I came there to say goodbye and make a new deal with her, whatever. And as I drove up the driveway, he was standing with a cell phone in his hand, and I looked out on the gallop trail, and she was there with a rider in the back, and she had not been running for 3 months at that point. She was there with a jockey on the back, and he was standing with a buyer in the phone. And as I stopped the car, he just turned around and he looked at me and he said, "You are so weird, and I want more." And he had just sold the horse for 70,000 euros, and it was just, and she had just made a time that she had never done before. It was really like, and that's 2 days, and we worked with her like 20 minutes one day and 20 minutes the other day. If you get to whatever is going on, you can just erase it like that. It's just amazing. Yeah. So he was a happy man.
So, ladies, I think you've got all of our attention. And according to we're running a poll. I know you girls don't know this, but on the side, for those who are watching, we've put out some questions as to what would you be seeking. And right now, in the lead is learn what it is truly to receive and be received. Would be one of the top things that people are actually seeking from attending a Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider clinic. So my question is when's the next one?
So the next clinic is actually it's an interesting one because it will be co-facilitated with Gary Douglas and myself. And Gary Douglas is the founder of Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, and he's also the founder of Access Consciousness. So all the tools that we will be working with. And I think his last clinic was with like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5.5 years ago.
5.5 years ago. So we're not sure that he will do another one. He says he won't, but we never know about that. But so this particular clinic is going to be in Dallas, Texas, and it is in January. So if you are interested, I think in our little offers page over there, we have a little click through. If you want to see where that clinic leads you, please use that little button, and it will open in a new tab, and you can find out how to sign up for that clinic. And if you can't make it to that clinic, there is actually right after this clinic is very exciting. There's a facilitators training that Gary Douglas will be doing. And so there will be more Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider facilitators out there, and so classes will actually be posted, I am sure, all around the world. So if you can't make it to Dallas, please keep looking at the Access Consciousness side, or also go to conscioushorse.com, and you can find it there. We will start to put all the facilitators on that website by the end of January, so that you have an awareness of who is available, where they are, what classes they offer, and what you can play with. So just be in touch, and if it's not happening for you in January, make it happen at some point. It's really an amazing class. I remember the first time I came to it, and I literally was just like, yeah, I'm just here because I like horses, and la 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 la. But I'm just here. I didn't even know what was going to occur. And boy, it really changed me so much to really just be around horses and having them contribute to me in a way that I never even knew was possible. And I love animals and have been hanging around them pretty much my entire life. And yet, seeing the tools in action with these animals just really blew me away. So please have a look at it. If it feels something that is enticing to you, please check it out.
Susie, just to clarify here, we've posted the prerequisites for your and Gary's clinic.
Yeah.
They're different than a regular Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider clinic, correct? There's more here.
Yes. So because Gary Douglas is doing this class as well, we actually chose to put an extra prerequisite on here. And so that people already had the awareness of what the Access tools are. So really, you have 2 avenues that you can come to the course, and it's really, really simple. You can take, basically at this point in time, I think the only offer that is left is the SE classes right beforehand. So we won't even mention your other possibilities because they're not available anymore. But so you can take an SE class, and I actually will offer one right before the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider class, so you could do that together. But if you have been involved in Access for a little while, and you have gone through what we call level 2 and 3, you can actually join this clinic also if you also read the Talk to the Animals book that is authored by Gary Douglas and Dane here, and then also watch the 3 Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider DVDs, as well as the Costa Ricense de Paso DVD, which actually I would just want to say something about that real quick, because the Costa Ricense de Paso are the horses that Gary Douglas has brought up here from Costa Rica, up here, I mean, to the United States, from Costa Rica. And he's not the only one that has done that, but he is actually doing a breeding program. And as far as I know, that's the only breeding program in North America at the moment. And he is bringing these horses to the clinic. So you get to see them there, you get to see them in action. They are beautiful, they have a wonderful gait, yes, they are kind, they are sweet. they are just an amazing breed. So you will get to meet them there, and hence Gary wants you to also watch that DVD if you're coming in through that particular avenue. So it's really actually quite simple to join. If you have never been to Access before and you would like to come to this clinic, please come to the SE class before that. It makes it real simple for you. But also, if you're choosing a Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider class in the future, they have no prerequisites. Anybody is welcome to join. So you haven't had to have done any Access before you join in the class. So how does it get better than this?
So just to clarify, Susie, the DVDs, where, if I've done up to level 2 and 3 of Access, where would I find those?
So in the shop on the Access website, you will find those. So if you just type in Conscious Horse, you will find those 3 DVDs there. And if you type in Costa Ricense or type in De Paso or just Paso, I am pretty sure you will find that one there.
Are they also not available on Access TV to be purchased?
Yes, you can also go to accessconsciousness.tv, and again, you would have to do a little search. That site is not the super easiest to find things, so please poke around a little bit, but then you could just watch it instantly right there. If you have internet connection, the accessconsciousness.tv site allows you to watch them right away.
We'll put those links from the Access Consciousness TV in our thank you video or email for everyone that's joined us today.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that'll make it real easy. Awesome. Yeah, and I just want to say too, like again, if you want to find out where classes are, please either find it by the individual facilitator on the Access Consciousness site, or go to conscioushorse.consciousrider.com, and you will find the facilitators there. And if you don't find their classes there, at least you can see their names there, and then you can find the classes on the Access site. So please check it out. This is really a phenomenal body of work. I am so honored. I can't even believe it still that I am co-facilitating with Gary Douglas. It's such an honor to be in that position, and I am so looking forward to be working with this wonderful man for 3 days with these horses. Just wow, how does it get better than this?
How does it?
How does it?
We're looking forward to.
Yay.
Whoa.
Cool. So Tammy, do we have anything else?
Just before we wrap up, ladies, I've just posted the horses are asking, and it is a request for anyone and everyone out there who has used the tools of Access Consciousness to create change in the horses' lives or in the lives of horses. If you have an experience, or if you've been there and done that, if you would be willing to write your story and share it, we will post it on the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider website, as well as there's another website called, which is Access Stories of Change.
Correct.
And it's just an invitation to contribute your knowing and your experience to expand the possibilities of people choosing to include this in the lives of horses and their own.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Please, if you have any stories that are amazing or even not amazing but still amazing, will you please send them? I know you all have stories. And, you know, the other thing, too, let's ask all the horses, too, to pull the energy of the people that are looking for change, that are looking for the possibility to create a different world. Together with horses, we can really change the world. And so I know the horses know that, but do you know that? And so we are looking for the horses to help in that sense, pulling people in to the awareness and the consciousness that they already have, so that we can create a different possibility on this planet. So I want to personally thank you so much for coming on this hangout. It's been really fun to talk about all this. You know, oh, by the way, just a little side note, at the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider class in Dallas, you do not have to bring a horse. Horses will be provided. There will be lots of horses there for you to play with, so please don't make that a limitation. And of course, if you want to bring your horse, you're more than welcome to in this particular clinic. And I know that most of the time in the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider classes or clinics, you are allowed to bring your horse. So please know that that is a possibility. So if you want to come and play with your own horse in the clinics, no problem. So yeah, I think that's it for me. So I'll give it over to Viv and Hanne to...
Great, thank you ladies. That was an awesome hangout. I think we've covered almost every nook and cranny possible, but I know there's always more to discover. So thank you for the contribution, and we'd love to see you at a clinic anywhere in the world with Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I also want to say thank you. It was cool. I really wish that a lot of people will get the contribution that this might be to their lives, whether they are horse people or not. And yeah, come and play with us. It's really fun. It's great fun, and the possibility of it might change your life.
Thank you, ladies. What an amazing invitation and inspiration. I'm so grateful to have been here today. And on behalf of all of us that you have shared this with, thank you. And until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hanne,
Thank you. Bye.
for being here for us. Bye.